Varanasi, India. This is probably one of the craziest cities in India. It is hustling and it is bustling and it is a busy and holy city here in India. Now, in the previous videos here in Varanasi, we've seen a lot of the main ghats, we visited Sarnath, and we've seen what real Varanasi has to offer. But Varanasi is so much more. It's got forts, it's got more ghats, it's got markets, and although it seems like it's much of the same thing, what we're gonna do today is we're gonna take a chiller day, and I'm gonna show you an alternative way to sort of explore the city of Varanasi. Instead of seeing Sarnath, what else is there to actually see in this city? You can tell the hustle and bustle is insane. There are so many people walking around here. But with that, let's go ahead and let's start the adventures here in the city of Varanasi. It's not every day that you see an elephant walking down the middle of a road, but this is why India is such a crazy place. That literally just happened, and it is so surreal to me. And just like that, we have crossed the river. I think this is the first time since we've come to Varanasi that we've come to the opposite side of the river. The whole time we've been in Varanasi, we've been staying on the west side where the ghats and the temples are. But for the first time, we've actually crossed the Ganges River to come to this imposing building right behind me. This is Ramnagar Fort. I don't know much about it, but we're gonna learn all about it today. Let's go ahead and head inside. If you remember, fun is that minty thing that you consume here. It's prohibited because a lot of people actually spit it out here inside the museum. So yeah, don't have fun before you come into a museum. Now, Ramnagar Fort was built in 1750, and although it looks really dated, like it's much older than that, the fact is that this fort has not been preserved very well. It was built by the royal family here in Banaras, but you can tell it's nothing like the forts in Rajasthan. This is not really a fort. Things are very poorly preserved here, and you have the occasional cannon or two, but the museum is not very nice. It's not a very nice place after I've seen the forts in Rajasthan. Now, with that said, this was a massive fort actually, and it's still owned by members of the royal family. Certain parts are still off limits. You can only go into the museum area. But to be completely honest with you, I am not very impressed by this fort. Especially after seeing the ones in Rajasthan, this is nothing in comparison to that. A bit disappointing. I was expecting a little bit more, but not everything can be a hit here in Varanasi. So let's go ahead, let's see what else Varanasi has to offer. That has got to be one of the most beautiful Starbucks I've seen in the world. It's got this beautiful archway in the front, just only in India. We have officially crossed back onto the other side of the Ganges. Wow, there is a very fat goat. Oh my goodness, look at that goat. Okay, totally got distracted, but we are back on the other side of the Ganges where all the ghats are, where the center of Varanasi is, and I think we haven't really seen enough of the ghats. We've seen Asi Ghat, we've seen sort of the burning ghat, but there are so many ghats. There are dozens and dozens of ghats that stretch over kilometers over the riverside of Varanasi. So let's go ahead, let's explore some ghats, let's see what's going on, and let's see if we can actually get closer to the Ganges without getting our feet muddy like we did in Asi Ghat. That has got to be the fattest goat I've ever seen. It's also very colorful. I mean, oh my goodness, it's getting close to me too. I'm gonna stay away from that. But look at that goat. That is one very interesting goat. Something really interesting is that this temple is pretty different from the other temples here in Varanasi. This is more of a South Indian temple. You've got that classic sort of tall triangular structure. You don't find that in the north of India. You don't find that in Delhi or Rajasthan. This is a very different style of temples, but that's the thing. Here in Varanasi, sort of devout Hindus come from all around the world to build temples, to build and establish something here. So this is one of those sort of things that they've brought from a different part of India to Varanasi. It's why you see so many South Indian food stands, so many South Indian sort of hawkers that are trying to sell South Indian food. And this is nowhere near South India, but because it's like such a diverse place for all of those of the Hindu faith, people have just brought things that come from where they come from. And now you have a random temple here that literally does not fit into any of the other sort of sites here in Varanasi. And 5 minutes later, we have made it to the next ghat here in Varanasi. This is Lali Ghat, and as you can probably tell, it's not really much of a ghat considering, look at this, the railings you can see on the side here. These railings keep leading down deeper, and usually you'd be able to walk down much farther, but because the Ganges is overflowing, again, we can only stop right here, and this is where it ends for Lali Ghat at least. But you can see all these incredible little wooden boats. Usually you'd be able to take a little boat tour where you just pay a local boatman and he'd take you out into the river and you'd be able to see Varanasi from the river. Unfortunately, because of the very high levels of water, that isn't really available. But you can see the river itself, not really the cleanest. It's very muddy, and it's maybe one of the holiest cities in India, but the fact is, it is also probably one of the dirtiest. So it's not exactly the cleanest place to go in and bathe. You can see there's a bit of smoke rising up into the sky there. That is a dead body being burnt right next to the Ganges. You can hear the sounds, you can hear the prayers, the chants that are taking place. Very common here in Varanasi, a place where a lot of people get burned, get thrown right into the holiest city of India. Now if that right there is not the cutest puppy I've ever seen in my life, I don't know what is. It is the smallest little thing ever. It is so cute. It's coming right towards me. That is the cutest thing I've ever seen. Look at it just wagging his little tail. What a cute little thing. Now all over Varanasi, you'll see things that are named after Mahadev, like this shop right here, Mahadev Lassi. Now, Mahadev is very important here in Varanasi, and it's a concept that I didn't really understand until a local actually explained it to me. Mahadev is basically the god above gods, and yet demons also worship Mahadev. Varanasi is the land of Mahadev. Imagine a god, a supernatural being that's more powerful than Lord Krishna and Shiva and all these gods that Hindus already worship. But he's more powerful than that, and also the demons on the bad side also worship Mahadev. It's basically as powerful of a figure as you get. And Varanasi is the land of Mahadev, which is what makes it one of the holiest places in India. You're not going to find Mahadev as commonly as here in Varanasi, but definitely something that gives you a little context when you're coming to the city of Varanasi. One thing I'm never going to understand about these streets is how they allow people, motorcycles, and cows to all coexist on this street. I mean, I get that this is India, but it just doesn't make sense. You can't have a cow walking through the middle and motorcycles going at extremely fast speeds just running through here. It just doesn't make sense. But yeah, it works here in India for some weird way, but there are some really close calls. I mean, people and cows is already enough. Motorcycles added in is just a complete disaster. Now, welcome to one of the most famous ghats here in Varanasi. This is one of the most beautiful ghats in my opinion, and this is called Darbhanga Ghat. It is this beautiful structure, like an old ancient fort from hundreds and hundreds of years ago, and it's literally right on the riverside. Now, unfortunately, the river is flooded, and you can literally tell that the water has come up to the level of the actual building itself. Usually, there's a massive staircase that leads up to this imposing structure, and the river would just be all the way over there with the boats down there. But obviously it is completely flooded, which means that you can't even get the best view, because the best view of Darbhanga Ghat is actually from the river itself, when you take a boat out and you can see the river, you can see the actual ghat itself. Fortunately, that's not possible today. Interesting thing is that this is now no longer just some beautiful fort or structure, it is a hotel. So you can actually pay quite a bit of money to stay here overnight and have the view of the river right beneath you. However, I'm not sure if that's a great idea during the rainy season because, like I said, you don't get the best view. You really don't get the best view. You're not getting the best feel for the city of Varanasi. And I'm realizing that all the ghats are pretty much facing the same problem right now. It's just over flooded. You're not getting the best views. The staircases are all completely flooded. So with that, I think we're gonna leave the ghat area, and I think I have an idea in mind as to where we should go next here in Varanasi. Back on a rickshaw, we go. Now, welcome to surprisingly one of the bigger tourist attractions here in Varanasi. This is a university, Banaras Hindu University, BHU. And interestingly enough, it is one of the oldest universities in India, established in 1898. But the actual history of this university stretches much farther back, because not only was Varanasi a religious center, but it was also an educational center. And therefore there are a lot of temples that are symbolic of education and culture and those things together. We're right in front of one of the temples here. I think it's the evening time. I don't think we'll be able to go in, but I want to see what this university is about. Apparently this guy is the founder of BHU. Pretty good spot to be located right in front of the temple. It's crazy that when you actually search on Google what are some of the best attractions here in Varanasi, BHU, the Banaras Hindu University, actually shows up. And this is why. This is why you come to Banaras. You've got insane temples here. This is a temple for education, obviously. And it's not only local college students who are coming, I mean, families come here. It is just such a different vibe. I've never imagined coming to a university campus as an actual tourist destination. But here in Varanasi, Banaras Hindu University, this is what you get to see, which is pretty crazy. I mean, you can also explore the university. You can sort of get a feel for what it's like to study here in India, but honestly, this temple, it's like pink. It kind of is giving sort of Jaipur vibes because of the pinkness of it, but it is really, really beautiful. And right now, as the sun is setting, you can see the birds just flying up above. And I mean, it is a bit of a cloudy day, so there's no actual sunset, but still absolutely incredible. But I think that's going to be the end of our adventures today here in Varanasi. This is our last day in Varanasi, so that marks the end of the Varanasi adventure at a university here in Varanasi, funnily enough. I have to say, today exploring the ghats, I mean, even though the ghats have been sort of filled up with a lot of water, I have to say, nonetheless, it was still an incredible place to visit. It was really worth it. And Ramnagar Fort, bit of a disappointment, but I think if you've never seen an actual fort in Rajasthan before, you'd probably be impressed by that. But having seen Rajasthan's forts, my standards had already been set too high, and to be fair, I was kind of forted out. Like, I just wasn't interested in seeing more forts. But this is a nice way to end our time here in Varanasi. Literally tonight, we are taking a night train and we're going on to our next destination here in India. So with that marks the end of the Varanasi adventures. I hope you guys have enjoyed seeing the Varanasi videos, and this video in particular. If you enjoyed it, definitely give it a thumbs up and subscribe for a lot more food and travel videos. And that's it. That's the end of Varanasi. From this massive temple right behind me, I'll see you all on the next one. Bye guys.